This playbill is called Stoops to Conquer, and it was written in 1773, and it is about love and social class and mistaken identity, and it is a non-stop party.
Who do we want to thank, Josh?
Yeah, that was next. I would like to thank my mother for making a whole lot of Georgian-era waistcoats and sewing my actors into them before the play started. I'd also like to thank Michael Wiersma and Tyler Kuykendall for pioneering the directing method that we use during this play and brought the success that it has become.
Anything else, Josh?
No.
All right. Thank you very much for coming. Enjoy the show.
Yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Hardcastle, and this is my house, which, according to Dorothy here, looks for all the world like an inn. And so it must, for therein lies the tale I'm about to tell you. I love this old house. I love everything that's old, and I've been pretty fond of an old wife.
Shame, Mr. Hardcastle. You're forever at your Dorothy's and your old wives. I was but 20 at the birth of Tony. That I had by Mr. Lumpkin, my first husband. And he's not come to years of discretion yet.
Nor ever will, I dare answer for him. It was but yesterday he fastened my wig to the back of my chair, and when I went to make a bow, I popped my bald head in Mrs. Frizzle's face.
We must not snub the poor boy now, for I believe we shan't have him long among us. Anyone that looks at his face may see he's consumptive.
Aye, if growing too fat be one of the symptoms.
Well, he coughs sometimes.
Yes, when his liquor goes the wrong way. Oh, there he goes. A very consumptive figure. Truly.
The body makes the body, coming through the eye. Oh, what's that blessed word?
Tony, where are you going, my charmer? Won't you give Papa and I a little of your company, lovey?
I can't stay, Mother.
Aye, the alehouse calls.
Pray, dear, disappoint them for this one night at least.
As for disappointing them, I should not so much mind. But I can't abide to disappoint myself.
You shan't go.
We'll see which of us is the strongest.
That's my stepson, Tony. And then there's my pretty darling Kate. Blessings on my pretty innocence. Kate and I have an agreement. I allow her to dress as fancy as she pleases in the morning, but in the evening, she puts on a simple dress to please me. I recall how I first told her of the young gentleman I had chosen to be her husband. Mr. Marlowe is the son of my old friend, Sir Charles Marlowe. I expect him from town this very day. He has been bred a scholar, and I am told he's a man with excellent understanding.
Is he?
Very generous.
I believe I shall like him.
Young and brave.
Oh, I'm sure I shall like him.
Oh, and very handsome.
Oh, Papa, say no more. He's mine. I'll have him.
And to crown all, Kate, he's one of the most bashful and reserved young fellows in all the world.
You have frozen me to death again. That one word, reserved, has undone all the rest of his accomplishments.
There is one more member of my household, Kate's cousin, Miss Constance Neville. The poor child's parents died a short time ago, and she became my wife's ward, along with a small fortune in jewels. My hopeful Dorothy immediately began courting her and her jewels for that pretty monster Tony. But Tony had his own ideas, an equally consumptive young thing at the nearest tavern. And Constance here was in love with Mr. Hastings, young Marlowe's best friend. In fact, Constance knew both young gentlemen well.
Mr. Marlowe is a very singular character, I assure you. Among women of reputation and virtue, he's the modestest man alive. But among women of a lower station...
Yes, this young Marlowe was an odd character indeed. Of course, I did not know this at the time, for I had never met the young gentleman before his arrival here. And that arrival was, most extraordinary.
We are Mr. Marlowe and Mr. Hastings from London, and we have lost our way. A fat young fellow at the tavern down the road told us that we might find a lodging for the night at this inn.
In? I'll go fetch my master, sir.
As I was saying, Charles, in the company of women of reputation, I never saw such an idiot, such a trembler. At this rate, man, how can you ever expect to marry?
Never! To go through all the terrors of a formal courtship, together with the episode of aunts, grandmothers, and cousins, and at last to blurt out the broad, staring question of, Madame, will you marry me? No, no, that's a strain much above me, I assure you.
Well, how is it then you are such a gay blade with barmaids and innkeepers' daughters?
Well, after all, George, those little darlings, did I ever tell you about that tempting little cook maid as a... Pshaw, this fellow here interrupt us.
Gentlemen, you are heartily welcome. Which is Mr. Marlowe. Sir, you are heartily welcome.
He's got our names from the servants, all right. I've been thinking, George, of changing our traveling dress in the morning.
Mr. Marlowe, Mr. Hastings, gentlemen, pray, be under no restraint in this house. This is Liberty Hall, gentlemen. You may do just as you please.
I fancy, Charles, you're right. The first blow is half the battle. I intend opening the campaign with the white and gold.
You're talking of a campaign, Mr. Marlowe? Puts me in mind of the Duke of Marlborough when we went to besiege Genet. He first summoned the garrison.
Don't you think the Ventredor waistcoat will do with the plain ground?
He first summoned the garrison, which might consist of about 5.
No, I think not. Brown and yellow mix but very poorly.
I say, gentlemen, as I was telling you, he first summoned the garrison, which might consist of about 5,000 men.
The girls like finer.
Which might consist of about 5,000 men, well appointed with swords, ammunition, and other implements of war. Now, says the Duke of Marlborough to George Brooks, that's your next one. You must have heard of George Brooks. All upon my dukedom, says he, but I take that garrison without spilling a drop of blood. So,
instead of the Duke of Marlborough, I believe it's almost time to talk about supper. What has your generalship got in the house for supper?
For supper? Sir, was ever such a request to a man in his own house?
Yes, sir. Supper, sir. I begin to feel an appetite. I shall make devilish work tonight in the larder, I promise you.
Well, sir, I'm resolved at least to attend you. This may be modern modesty, but I never saw anything look so like old-fashioned impudence.
What a surly little snout band. Seems to forget he's an innkeeper. Huh, what do I see? Oh, Miss Neville, by all that's happy.
My dear Hastings.
I could never hope to get my Constance at an inn.
An inn? Why, sure you mistake. My aunt, my guardian lives here. What could induce you to think this house an inn?
My friend Marlowe and I were directed here as to an inn by a fellow whom we met at a tavern down the road.
It must be one of my cousin Tony's trips.
My friend Marlowe must not know of his mistake. He would hastily quit the house before you and I can escape to be married.
But how shall we keep him in deception? This way.
The assiduities of these good people tease me beyond bearing. My host seems to think it ill manners to leave me alone. But what have we got here?
My dear Charles, the most fortunate accident. Who do you think is just alighted?
cannot guess.
Our mistress's boy, Miss Hardcastle and Miss Neville. Give me leave to introduce Miss Constance Neville.
Very fortunate. A most joyful encounter. But our dresses, George, you know are in disorder. Perhaps we should postpone that happiness until tomorrow. Tomorrow at her house, it'll be every bit as convenient and rather more respectful. Tomorrow, let it be.
Pshaw, man, it's but the first plunge and all's over. Miss Hardcastle's but a woman, you know.
And of all women, she that I dread most to encounter.
Ah, Miss Hardcastle. Mr. Marlowe. I'm proud of bringing two persons of such merit together.
I'm glad of your safe arrival, sir. I'm told you had some accidents along the way.
Yes, madam. A good many accidents, and I should be sorry, or rather glad of any accidents that are so agreeably concluded.
You never spoke better in your whole life. Keep it up and I'll assure you the victory. Well, Miss Hardcastle, I see that you and Mr. Marlowe are going to be very good company, and I believe that our being here will but embarrass the interview.
Not in the least, Mr. Hastings. We enjoy your company of all things. Zoons, George, sure you won't go?
You don't consider, man, that you want a little tete-a-tete of your own, hmm?
I was observing, madam, in this age of hypocrisy.
You were observing, sir.
I was observing, madam. I protest, madam. I forgot what I was going to observe.
I'm proud, and so do I. Who could ever suppose this fellow impudent upon some occasion? You were going to observe, sir, that in this age of hypocrisy, something about hypocrisy, sir?
Hypocrisy? Yes, madam. In this age of hypocrisy, there are few upon strict inquiry do not,
I understand you perfectly, sir.
Egad, and that's more than I do myself. But I'm sure I tire you, madam.
Oh, not in the least, sir. There's something so agreeable and spirited about your manner, such life and force. Pray, sir, go on.
Yes, madam. I was observing, but I see Miss Neville expecting us in the garden. She beckons us to join her. Madam, shall I do myself the honor to attend you?
Well, then I'll follow directly.
Madam, I would not for the world detain you. This pretty smooth dialogue has done for me.
Was there ever such a sober, sentimental interview? I'm certain he scarce looked in my face the entire time. Yet the fellow, but for his unaccountable bashfulness, is pretty well, too. If I could teach him a little confidence, it would be doing someone I know a piece of service.
Econ, I've got it. Here they are. My cousin Constance's necklaces, jewels and all. My mother shed cheap earned Hastings out of their fortune. Jeans, is that you?
My dear friend, how have you managed with your mother? I hope she does not suspect my plans for eloping with Constance. Our horses will be refreshed in a short time, and we shall soon be ready to set off.
And here's something to pay your bills along the way. Your sweetheart's jewels. Keep them. And hang those, I say. That would rob you of one of them.
But how have you procured them from your mother?
Ask me no questions, and I'll tell you no fibs. An honest man may rob himself of his own at any time.
Thousands do it every day. I dread the effects when your mother discovers that the jewels are gone.
Never you mind my mother. Leave me to manage that. I don't value her resentment the bounce of a cracker. Zoons, she's here, and has missed them already. Vanish.
Confusion! Thieves! Robbers! We are cheated! Plundered! Broken open and done!
I wonder what Hastings could mean by giving me something so valuable as a casket to keep for him when he place I have is the seat of a carriage at an indoor, I have a much better plan for keeping it safe. I'll have it deposited with the landlady.
Oh, bless me. I quite forgot to tell Constance I meet her at the bottom of the garden. Now, where could she have... Oh, well, here's Marlowe again. You have taken care, I hope, of the casket I gave you to lock up. It's in safety?
Yes, it's safe enough. I've taken care of it. But how could you think the seat of a carriage at an indoor place of safety? No, Skull. I have taken better precautions for you than you have for yourself. I had...
What?
I gave it to the landlady to keep for you.
To the landlady?
To the landlady.
Oh. You did?
I did. She's to be answerable for its forthcoming, you know.
Yes, she'll bring it forth with the witness. So now all hopes of fortune are at an end, and Constance and I must set off without him. Well, my dear Charles, I'll leave you to your meditations on Miss Hardcastle, and may you be as successful for yourself as you have been for me.
What could my old friend Sir Charles Marlowe mean by recommending his son as the modestest young man in town? To me, he appears the most impudent piece of brass that ever spoke with a tongue. Well, my Kate, I see you have changed your dress as I bid you. I'm desirous to know your opinion of the modest gentleman whom I recommended to you as a lover today.
I have never seen anything like it. And a man of the world, too.
Aye, you learned it all abroad. What a fool was I, to think a young man could learn modesty by traveling.
It seemed all natural to him.
Oh, a good deal assisted by bad company and a French dancing master.
Oh, sure you mistake, Papa. A French dancing master could have never taught him. That bashful manner, that awkward address, that timid look.
Whose look? Whose manner, child?
Mr. Marlowe's. His timidity struck me at the first sight.
And your first sight deceived you, for I think him one of the most brazen first sights that ever astonished my senses.
Oh, sure, sir, you really. I never met a man so modest.
Can you be serious? I never saw such a bouncing, swaggering puppy since I was born.
Surprising. He treated me with diffidence and respect, then left the room with a bow and a, "Madame, I would not for the world detain you."
He spoke to me with a loud voice and a lordly air, asked 20 questions and never waited for an answer, interrupted my best remarks with some silly pun, and when I was in my best story of the Duke of Marlborough and Prince Eugene, he asked what I had in the house for supper. Oh, yes, Kate, he asked your father to serve him supper.
One of us must certainly be mistaken.
Oh, but in one thing we are agreed, to reject him.
Yes, but upon conditions. As one of us must be mistaken, what if we go on to make farther discoveries?
Agreed, but depend on it, I'm in the right.
And depend on it, I'm not much in the wrong.
Don't wrinkle your pretty brain, wondering if Miss Marlowe's impudent sister here. I told him this house was an inn, and he think your father's the landlord.
What an unaccountable creature you are, brother of mine.
And what is more, madam, the young gentleman, as you pass by in your present dress, asked me if you're the barmaid. He mistook you for the barmaid, madam.
Did he? Then as I live, I'm resolved to keep up the delusion. You're sure he does not remember my face or person?
Certain of it.
And I think I've got the true Barkent. Did your honor call? What your grace be having?
It will do, madam, but he's here.
What a bawling in every part of the house. If I go to the best room, there I find my host and his story. If I fly to the gallery, there's my hostess in her curtsy down to the ground. At last I have got a moment to myself, and now for recollection.
Did you call, sir? Did your honor call?
As for Miss Hardcastle, oh, she is too grave and sentimental for me.
Did your honor call?
No, child. Besides, from the glimpse I've had of her, I think she squints.
I'm sure, sir, I heard bell ring.
No. I'll please my father, however, by coming down here, and tomorrow I shall please myself by returning.
Perhaps the other gentleman called, sir.
I tell you, no. Why, yes, child, I think I wanted. Wow, child, you are fascinating.
Oh, la, sir, you make one ashamed.
Yes, I did call. Have you got any of your, what do you call it in the house?
Oh, no, sir, we've been out of that these 10 days.
Suppose I should call for a taste of the nectar of your lips.
Nectar? That's a liquor there's no call for in these parts. French, I suppose. We keep no French wines here, sir.
Of true English growth, I assure you.
Then it's odd I should not know it. We keep all sorts of wines here. I've lived in this house these 18 years.
18 years? Why, one would think, child, you kept the bar before you was born. How old are you?
Oh, sir, I must not tell my age. They say women in music must never be dated.
To guess at this distance, you can't be much above 40. Yes, nearer, I don't think so much. By coming close to someone, they look younger still. But when we come very close indeed,
Pray, sir, keep your distance. One would think you wanted to know one's age as they do horses, by examining the teeth.
I protest, child. You use me extremely ill. If you keep me at this distance, how is it possible that you and I can ever be acquainted?
And who would want to be acquainted with you? I want no such acquaintance, not I. I'm certain you did not treat Miss Hardcastle in this obstropulous manner. I'll warrant me, before her you looked dashed, kept bowing to the ground, and talked for all the world as if you was before a justice of peace.
Egad, she has hit it sure enough. Don't go, child. Ah, what a tempting, brisk, lovely little barmaid. Such vital, such motion, such lips. I wonder why she wouldn't let me kiss them.
I no longer know my own house. It's turned all topsy-turvy. I'll bear it no longer. But yet, out of my respect for his father, I'll be calm. Mr. Marlowe, your servant. I'm your very humble servant.
Sir, your very humble servant. What's to be the wonder now?
I believe, sir, you must be sensible, sir, that no man alive ought to be more welcome than your father's son, sir. I hope you think so.
I do from my soul, sir. I generally make my father's son welcome wherever he goes.
Soon she'll drive me distracted if I contain myself any longer. Mr. Marlowe, sir, I've submitted to your insolence for more than 4 hours and see no likelihood of its coming to an end. I'm now resolved to be master here, sir, and I desire you may leave my house directly.
Leave your house? Sure you jest, my good friend. What when I'm doing what I can to please you?
Oh, I tell you, sir, you don't please me. Now that my passions are roused, I say this house is mine, sir. This house is mine, and I command you to leave it directly.
A puddle in a storm. I shan't stir a step, I assure you. This your house, sir? This is my house. This is my house while I choose to stay. What right have get me to leave this house, sir? I never met with such impudence. Curse me! Never in my whole life before.
Nor I could find me if ever I did, to come to my house, to call for what he likes, to turn me out of my own chair, and then to tell me, this house is mine, sir. Pray, as you take the house, what think you of taking the rest of the furniture? Here's a pair of silver candlesticks, and there's a pair of brazen nose bellows. Perhaps you may take a fancy to them!
Bring me your bill, sir. Bring me your bill and let's have no more words about it.
Oh, there are set of prints too. What think you the rank's progress for your own apartment?
Bring me my bill, I say, and I'll leave you and your infernal house there.
Then there's a mahogany table that you may see your face in!
My bill, I say.
I forgot the great chair for your own particular slumbers. After a hearty meal!
Stoops! Bring me my bill, I say, and let's have no more on it.
Young man, from your father's letter to me, I was taught to accept a well-bred, modest man as a visitor here. But now I find him no better than a coxcomb and a bully. But your father will be down here presently. Shall hear more of it!
This a house? Sure, I have not mistaken the house. Everything looks like an inn. The servants cry, coming, and the barmaid, too, to attend us. Oh, whither so fast, child? A word with you.
Let it be short then, I'm in a hurry.
Pray, child, answer me this one question. What are you, and what may your business in this house be?
A poor relation to the family, sir.
And you act as the barmaid of this inn?
Inn? Oh, law, what brought that into your head? One of the best countries in the family. Keep an inn. Oh, Mr. Hardcastle's house an inn.
Mr. Hardcastle's house? Is this Mr. Hardcastle's house, child?
I'm sure. Whose else should it be?
So then all's out. I have been imposed on. To mistake this house of all others for an inn and my father's old friend for an innkeeper. What a swaggering puppy he must take me for. Excuse me, my dear girl. I mistook you for the barmaid.
Oh, dear me. Dear me, I'm sure there's nothing in my behavior to put me on level with one of that stamp.
Nothing, my dear, nothing. But I was in for a list of blunders and could not help but making you a subscriber. But it's over. This house I no more show my face in.
Well, I hope I have done nothing to disoblige you, sir. I'm sure I should be sorry to affront any gentleman who has been so polite and said so many civil things to me. I'm sure I should be sorry if he left the family upon my account.
By heaven, she weeps. This is the first mark of tenderness that I've ever seen from a modest woman, and it touches me. Excuse me, my lovely girl. You are the only part of the family that I leave with reluctance. Your only fault was being too lovely.
Oh, but I'm sure my family is as good as Miss Hardcastle's. And though I'm poor, that's no great misfortune to a contented mind.
This simplicity bewitches me, so that if I stay, I'm undone. I must make one bold effort and leave her. My dear, I can scarcely speak it. It affects me. Farewell.
I never knew half his merit till now. He shall not go if I have power to detain him. I'll preserve this character in which I stoop to conquer. Who is this old gentleman with my father?
Old Sir Charles has just arrived and discovered young Mr. Barlow's mistake. They have been laughing about it this half hour. They are coming this way.
Then I must not be seen.
The peremptory tone with which he sent forth his sublime commands.
And the reserve with which I suppose he treated all your trances.
And yet, he might have seen something in me of a common innkeeper, too.
Yes, Dick, but he mistook you for an uncommon innkeeper.
Well, I'm in too good spirits to think of anything but joy. Yes, my dear friend, this union of our families We'll make our personal friendship hereditary, though my daughter's fortune is but small.
Well, how are you talking fortune to me? If they like each other as you say they do.
If, man, I tell you, they do like each other. My daughter as good as told me so. I saw him grasp her hand in the warmest manner myself. And here he comes to put you out of your ifs, I warrant you.
I come, sir, to ask pardon for my strange conduct.
Oh, boy, a trifle. You take it too gravely. An hour or two's laughing with my daughter will set all to rights again. She'll never like you the worse for it.
Sir, I shall always be proud of her approbation.
Approbation is but a cold word, Mr. Marlowe. If I am not mistaken, you have something much more than approbation thereabouts. You take me?
Really, sir, I have not that happiness.
Come, boy, I'm an old fellow, and know what's what as well as you that are younger. I know what has passed between you two, but Mo.
Sure, sir, nothing has passed between us but the most profound respect on my side and the most distant reserve on hers. I hope that my impudence hasn't been passed upon all the rest of the family.
Impudence? No, I don't say that. Not quite impudence. But she has shown no tails, I assure you.
I never gave her the slightest cause.
Well, well, I like modesty in its place well enough. But this is overacting, young gentleman. You may be open. Your father and I will like you the better for it.
Dear sir, I protest, sir.
I can see no reason why you should not be joined as fast as the parson can tell you.
But hear me, sir.
Your father approves the match. I admire it. Every moment's delay will be doing mischief. So,
But why won't you hear me? By all that's just and true, I never gave Miss Hardcastle the slightest mark of my attachment, or even the most distant hint to suspect me of affection. We had but one interview, and that was formal, modest, and uninteresting.
this fellow's formal, modest impudence is beyond bearing.
And you never grasped her hand or made any protestations?
As heaven is my witness, I came down in obedience to your commands. I saw the lady without emotion and parted without reluctance. I hope that you'll exact no further proofs of my duty, nor prevent me from leaving this house at which I suffer so many mortifications.
That I pledge my life and honor upon his very truth.
Ah, here comes my daughter. I would stake my happiness upon her veracity. Kate, come hither, child. Answer us sincerely and without reserve. Has Mr. Marlowe made you any profession of love and affection?
The question is very abrupt, sir. But since you require unreserved sincerity, I think he has.
See?
And did you and my son have more than one interview?
Oh, yes, sir, several.
You see?
Did he talk of love?
Much, sir.
Now, my friend, I hope you are satisfied.
And how did he behave, madam?
As most professed admirers do, said some civil things of my face, mentioned his heart, gave a short tragedy speech, and ended in pretended rapture.
I'm not perfectly convinced indeed. I know his conversation among women to be modest and submissive. I'm confident he never sat for the picture.
Then if you and my papa will place yourselves in that curtain, you will hear him express his passion for me in person.
Agreed. Here, behind this curtain.
I make no noise. I'll engage my Kate Coverson with confusion at last.
By heavens, madam, I've already trifled too long with my heart. Your beauty hath first caught my eye, and every moment that I converse with you, some new grace heightens the picture and gives it stronger expression.
What can you mean? He amazes me.
I told you how it would be. Hush!
I am now determined to stay, madam.
Oh, Mr. Marlowe, I will not, I cannot detain you.
But I will stay, even contrary to your wishes, and though you should persist to shun me.
Oh, sir, I must entreat you'll desist. As our acquaintance began, let it end in indifference.
Does this look like indifference?
Charles! Charles! You must not deceive me. Is this your indifference? Your uninteresting conversation?
Your cold contempt? Your formal interview? What have you to say now?
That of all amazement. What can it mean?
It means you can say and unsay things at pleasure, that you can address a lady in private and deny it in public, that you have one story for us and another for my daughter.
Daughter? This lady your daughter?
Yes, my only daughter, my Kate. Who else should she be?
Oh, the devil.
Yes, sir, that very identical, tall, squinting lady you were pleased to take me for.
Zoons, there's no bearings. I must be gone.
By the hand of my body, but you shall not. I know she'll forgive you. Won't you forgive your Kate? We'll all forgive you. Take courage, man.
So they got off. Let them go. I care not.
Who gone?
My dutiful niece and her gentleman, Mr. Hastings from town.
Who? My honest George Hastings? That's where your fellows lives, and the girl could not have made a more prudent choice.
And by the hand of my body, I'm proud of the connection.
Well, if he's taken the lady, he has not taken her fortune. That remains as a family to console us for her loss.
Sure, Dorothy, you would not be so mercenary.
Aye, that's my affair, not yours.
But you know if your son, when of age, refuses to marry his cousin, her whole fortune is then at her own disposal.
Aye, but he's not of age, and she has not thought proper to wait his refusal. What? Returned so soon? Get enough to like it.
For my attempt to fly off with your niece, let my present confusion be my punishment. We are now come back to appeal for your justice, to your humanity.
Pshaw, pshaw, it's not such a whining end to a modern novel.
Be it what it will, I'm glad this come back to reclaim their due. Come hither, Toby, boy. Do you refuse this lady's hand whom I now offer you?
What signifies my refusing? You know I can't refuse her from of age, father.
Well, I thought concealing your age, boy, was likely to conduce to your improvement. I concurred with your mother's desire to keep it secret. But since I find she turns into a wrong use, I must now declare you have been of age these 3 months.
Of age? Am I of age, father?
Well, above 3 months.
Thank you, first use I make of my liberty. Witness, all men, by these presents, that I, Anthony Lumpkin, Esquire of this place, refuse you, Constance Neville, spinster, on no place at all, for my true and lawful wife. So Constance Neville may marry whom she pleases, and Tony Lumpkin is his own man again.
My worthy friend.
My undutiful offspring!
Joy, my dear George, I give you joy sincerely. And could I prevail upon my little tyrant here, I should be the happiest man alive.
Come, madam. I know you like him. I'm sure he loves you, and you must have him.
And I say so too. And Mr. Martin, she makes as good a wife as she has a daughter. I don't believe you'll ever repent your bargain. So now to supper. Tomorrow we shall gather all the poor of the parish above us. And the mistakes of the night shall be crowned with a merry morning. So, boy, take her. And if you have been mistaken in the mistress, my wish is that you may never be mistaken in the wife.